On December 30th in 1994, almost 11 years ago, John Salvi entered 2 Brookline clinics that were providing reproductive health care services, including abortion, where he shot and killed 2 people and injured 5 others. 12 days later, Cardinal Law and Governor Weld met privately and agreed that this was a time for the lowering of voices.
I was absolutely uncertain of my ability to carry my organization forward. I had never experienced fear at the level that I experienced it then. I never had to deal with other people's fear at the level that I experienced it. But I was absolutely determined to try. And so as we got through the first steps of the things we had to do, I did remember that Cardinal Law and our governor had called for talks. It was interesting to me to think about the fact that it was very unlikely that they were going to be having the talks, really. But it was clear to me that if there were going to be talks, I might very well need to be part of them. And so when Laura and Susan approached us, all of us and me, to talk with us about whether we might want to go down this dialogue path, I had not very high expectations for it. I had some substantial fears that if my colleagues found out that I was doing it, that they would even be angrier with me for taking time away from caring for them to care at a different level for those, including our opposition. But I felt committed to go down every path that might lead to a reduction and a prevention of the sort of violence that we experienced and the fear that I think all of us experienced. The most important thing that I learned as part of the dialogue is that there is no more fundamental or profound responsibility of a leader than to understand the differences of opinion that are around you, not only between you and your opposition, if you will, but between you and those who are on your side.
When we were beginning the talks, I went into them in the hopes that it would de-escalate the tension that was in the city. I have to tell you that I was very scared. I was very frightened because I did not know my opposition except as they were portrayed in the media. And I was terrified of the hostility that I was going to meet when I sat down to talk with these people. And so I walked into that first session. As I said, I was just really terrified. But very early on in the talk, in the dialogue, I realized that I could like these people. Really. That these people were as committed to their position as I to mine, and that I felt that we could develop a relationship, and we did. We came to love each other in spite of the fact that neither one of us changed our opinion in the least.
I also was surprised. I had my own preconceptions of what women and the pro-life women were like, and they were completely dashed. These women are, on the pro-life side, I experienced as, we have great senses of humor. We laugh a lot when we're together, uproariously at times. They're smart. They have full, interesting lives. They all have interesting professions, and that was all surprising to me. I know that sounds really judgmental, but that was surprising to me to experience that. And as Nicki said, we never talk on our side about shades of gray. When you are involved in a political movement like we are focused on mobilizing the troops. And the way you do that is we paint things in the starkest possible terms so that people are moved to act, so they know what to do. We don't have conversations about the things that we have doubts about or that are more murky, and I really value the conversations that I had with the people, the women who shared my perspective on the reproductive choice issue.
It finally came to us after about 3 or 4 years, or it came to me after about 3 or 4 years, we may be a little slow, that this really wasn't about abortion, at least for me. It was about the difference in worldview that Melissa mentioned. For me, at least, I came to understand at last that abortion was one piece of it, but it was a much deeper chasm about worldview. And we could see that we could never have common ground, as some people call it, that we could have respect for each other and, you know, hopefully take the conversation out into the public, and I can say why I care passionately about the unborn as well as the born. And the others can put their position forward, and everybody can listen and we can share. And that's what I think the dialogue did for me, and I think it had a huge impact on the movement in Boston, and also, I think, at least on me personally.
One thing I've learned about being in the dialogues is that I don't like to argue. I don't like it personally, and I also don't believe that it's how people change. We don't change people by arguing with them. We change, if people are going to be changed, they're going to be changed by human stories, by what in my business we call the incarnation. The actual embodiment of a truth or a reality. One of the things I feel most grateful about is the opportunity to spend an enormous amount of time, and most of us do not have this opportunity, to spend an enormous amount of time with people with whom I disagree profoundly, and to spend almost all that time talking about the very things that we disagree about. That is what changes us, that's what moves us, and that's what deepens us.
As you hear us and see us today, I think the thing that might not be seen here are the very painful moments that were also part of the dialogue. I mean, we were discussing for 5 years with great passion and intensity our trying to get to a deeper understanding of our differences over the abortion issue. And it was painful. There were very many times that we went home not feeling so great, and and there was hurt, and there were difficult moments. But I think the thing that we all sort of were surprised at times is that we pushed through those moments. That even though I can remember feeling, well, I think we've taken this as far as it's going to go. There was something else that was going on about a connection to one another, you see, that was sort of kind of had crept up on us unawares in that we were falling in love with one another.